All right. All right, we should be streaming. I think. Let me just make sure we're working. Okay. Uh, uh, all right. All right, so I'm working on a house paint visualizer so you can see what your house looks like in different paint colors. Um, so yesterday I started training. Um, I'm working on basically I'm working on figuring out, getting a good feel for GANs. Um, so it's not super great. I, I guess the few things that surprise me is how long it's taking to train a GAN. Like, does seem to be kind of working, but it's taking forever. So uh, here I'm training a GAN who is trying to make images like this, basically a circle with a hole in the middle. And I'm just using adversarial loss in the GAN. And it's finally getting stuff like this. My generator's generating stuff like this. This is the noise I'm passing it. This is, don't worry about that. And it's generating stuff that looks like this. And here's a tensor board the thing that startled me is how long the GAN's taking to train. Um, so it's 700, these are 700 epochs, and I get this kind of jangly thing with a circle in the middle. I guess it's working, but I had to leave it overnight, and it's 700 epochs of 10,000 samples. Um, and so I hate that it takes that long because it makes it super hard to develop. And I don't even know if it's going to turn out good. It's still jangly. Like, what is this nonsense? It doesn't really look like this. Um, so I'm curious. I'm going to log into, the one thing that was nice is I have my server ran all night, which it had been breaking. I hadn't been able to figure out, but I think it was just like a PyTorch. I think it might have been an issue with PyTorch. Oh, wow, look at these losses are huge. Um, I'm using a like that. I, what I want to do today is try to speed up this training and figure out how to make it better. I also feel like because my loss is so big, I don't know if it should be continuing like that to these huge numbers. I thought the gradient penalty was supposed to like make that more reasonable. But I guess some good information I did get is that it takes forever to train again. Like I thought it would take like 2 minutes to see results similar to this, and it took more like a day. And these aren't even good results. Like it's got to be faster. We can't be waiting a day for stuff. Um, I think the things I want to check. I think a few things might be slowing it down. One, I'm going to write this down because I want to test all these things. I think something's wrong with my gradient penalty. So I need to check my gradient, my GP. The other thing that I think is wrong is I suspect that part of the difficulty with training this GAN is that see, these, oh no, I don't know about that. Did we break finally? Okay, whatever. Um, what else do I think is wrong? I'm curious to see like if I just center. The problem is I'm putting these random circles in my data all over the place, not just the center. So I think it's because they're all over the image. I'm curious how that impacts the generator and the discriminator's ability. So I might try training it just with it in the middle to simplify things and see if it works better. I suspect it will. And if it, uh, I would like to be able to train a discriminator that like stuff is all over the image, so it's like not aligned in the center. I feel like if I have to align something in the center to make it work, it's like it's kind of stupid. I don't know. It's like it's a lot of work to do that. Uh, so I'm gonna check on alignment. And the other thing is, I just want to try like really small models. I think I don't know. I never know like how big of a model I need when I'm doing stuff. And I guess ideally, I would just use as small as a model as I can to get the job done. Um, so I never know if it's like, is it way too big or is it way too small? So I'm gonna try to get a good sense of like what size model do I need, and then when I actually start, the reason I'm trying to. My overarching goal here is to get a system that detects parts of a house, and so like it masks parts of the house, so it'll mask the shutters on a house. And so if I can get a good mask of the shutters and then like the siding or the brick um, or the door, then I can recolor that part. Getting a really good mask is hard. Um, Segment anything gets an okay mask, but what I want to be able to do is improve that mask. And my idea to improve that mask is to use a GAN or a GAN type architecture. So the discriminator says this is a basically guides the generator in this context, maybe segment anything to produce a good looking mask. And by good looking, I mean good looking on how I want it to look. Um, so I've tried a ton of different approaches to this, and the big thing I'm realizing is one of the important things I want to do is be able to incrementally improve my model, which is not easy to do. Um, so initially, I'll just train a masking model on like a mean squared error. And then once it gets okay at that, I'll train it against a discriminator. So it's like, okay, let's make things that not masks that aren't just close, but they also look like how I want them to look. Um, Basically, the idea is I want to be able to control. I want fine control over any sort of model that I use. And that's what I'm working so hard to do. And in principle, I really love the idea of being able to, of kind of the GAN setup. I'm actually not, it's weird because like these things are all these terms are interchangeable, but like it's not just a GAN that I'm going to build. It's more of like I don't know what you'd call it, but like a reinforcement learning type architecture. That might be a better way to phrase it. It's probably more reinforcement learning than GAN, but it's always kind of the same thing. To me, it's all kind of this. Everything's kind of the same thing. It's just slight differences in versions. All right, so first thing we're going to do is check out our gradient penalty. I just feel like the calculation's not right or something's going wrong. And I've been saving this model that I trained overnight. The one good news is my server didn't crash. That's big. Um, you know what, I think this is how whenever I have a problem, there's always like something that I read somewhere that has something to do. Oh, oh no. Something I read somewhere has something to do with what I'm working on. That's not the article. Crap. This is the article. This is a good article. I mean, it's something to do with what I remember. So I'm using Wasser-Stein loss. However, the Wasserstein law says the problem that if the discriminator is head of the generators, it should be simply multiplied by number. It's going to widen the gap between the scores of real and generated samples. So without intervention, the weights of the discriminator will diverge indefinitely. I feel like that's what's happening. At least the loss is diverging indefinitely. And it says there are three common methods to solve this problem: weight clipping, spectrum, and gradient penalty. Penalizes gradients that would create too large of weights. So it's actually, so I'm not 100% sure. Like my loss is really huge, but I guess it's possible that the weights aren't really huge. That seems a little bit unlikely. Um, I wonder. I mean, these losses are huge. Let's see what ChatGPT says. Wasserstein GAN. See if ChatGPT has any insight. Says batch normalization breaks. Mm. Be right back. Ba, 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 ba. Mm-hmm. Let's see what this interpolated image looks like. Since I don't understand math, I just have to visualize everything. Uh, it's half the real image and half the fake image. I'm a little confused because one minus. I guess we gotta see what alpha is. Let's see what alpha is. Wow. Just like a random. Is that right? I don't know what it is. I don't understand what that means. Sample big data. Whoops. Man, batch size, sample epsilon from uniform distribution. 1 minus alpha times fake samples. Um, mm, alpha. Mm. Where's my EPS at? Cool. My, oh, seems the same. I thought that it might be looking for not a. What I'm gonna do. Um, I'm gonna look at. Here we go. This guy implements a VGAN. GANs. DC. WGAN GP. I wonder if that retained graph is important. Retained graph doing. trying to understand if this, I'm confused. I don't even know what a graph is. Let me see. No, we don't need that graph. I don't know why he thinks he needs it. Why does he need this graph? Oh, okay. He's all right. Yeah, I guess it just might speed things up. Fake. So he creates a fake. You retain the graph. All right. All right. My setup's a little bit different. This is maybe more efficient, but it's kind of confusing. All right. I don't think I have to worry about retaining the graph because I run the dis model through another mask prediction. I guess I call the gen model twice. Fake mask. I think that's fine. His is a little more efficient though, because he only is calling the gen model once. But I'm just gonna not confuse myself. I don't know what WR and T are. hanging around 0.5. Let's fix. All right, so it looks like it's hanging around 1. A little above, a little below, but it's hanging around 1. Okay, let's if we don't use the if we don't use the gradient penalty. Still hang around 1. Looks like it's increasing. Should still be hanging around 1. Oh, I guess. Now it's going up to 2. Now it's going up to 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Going up to 10, 14. All right. It seems to more quickly go to 1 when we add the gradient penalty in. Kind of hangs out a little bit lower. It's definitely hanging out closer to 1. That's this the gradient norm. So the gradient penalty does seem to be doing something. Yeah, get rid of this. I don't need this. I think it's working as it's supposed to. Get rid of this. Um, Just do that work, I wonder. Yeah, it's hanging around 1. Show me example, bitch. Okay. The type of thing that a good programmer might pull into its own. So it looks like it's hanging around 1 for the maximum weight. Oh, and let me try to remove the gradient penalty and see if those weights get way bigger. They're still about the same. Is this growing? Was it growing before? 101. You know what you need to do is, it's growing slowly. I guess the learning rate's such that it will grow slowly. Let's jank up this learning rate. Learning rate's too small. Get big, baby, get big. Get big. Oh, we growing, baby. We growing. We getting big quick. Uh, you know what I'm gonna do? Check this out. Oh, I'm like a real programmer. Max weight, created a function. All right. All right. So it grows with. Let me see when if I had that gradient penalty. Hey, it's still getting big. Let me ask ChatGPT if we. Maybe instead of looking at max, I should look at the average and the standard deviation. Let's do that. I hate when ChatGPT does this. I want to make sure that yeah, I just want some statistics on this weight because my thinking is I also want to prevent it from like all the weights are going to zero. Now the max just keeps getting bigger. I want to see. Analyze weights. Boy, and that's all we're going to show. Mean weight. 0.02. I'm going to use the restroom real quick. 003. Okay, under one. You know what I want? Uh, negative, -2, -1, negative 0.05, -2, negative point, 0.1. Check that out. Yeah. Hold up. I messed it up. Die. 0.5. So they're growing. All these weights start at 0? That's weird, right? I wonder if, guess they might. When I initialize a model, what are the default weights and biases in PyTorch? let me just see. So the first call, yeah, it's pretty much all within. I think it's just starting at 0. Just oh, I don't like this. I'm using. I, okay, I was using the wrong. I was using a different disk model than I thought I was using. It's annoying. So that model was using batch norm, which could have been causing some weirdness. See how this changes if it's still. Okay. I also wasn't using the dropout, so I was using dropout, but I was not. Oh, mama. Just want to see. Oy. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter to see what happens to these weights. These numbers aren't changing at all. It's going up. Gain weight. Now I wonder if make it negative. That's going up. Okay. All right. I'm going to go for a run. So I'll pause this. Basically, I'm just still messing around with GANs. Um, Trying to get it to reproduce a circle with another black circle inside of it. Making sure my stuff's working correctly. I'm just gonna let this run for a bit while I go for a run. Learning rate's way too high. Turn that up. Crank this up to 1,000. And then we'll let it run and screen. Oh, we're gonna stop this one first. So I was using a critique. It was a patch can that I trained all night. It ended up working, but it took a whole night to work. That doesn't seem right. Should be taking longer. What the hell? Okay. All right, we're gonna let that run for a bit. So we're still just playing around with GANs for now. I'm gonna let it train for a little while and see how it comes out, and also see what the weights and stuff are up to. So I'll be back on before too long.